The Gina Carano situation, as well as the exposure of Dana Walden as best pals with a certain political candidate, has exposed the Walt Disney Company for being the political entity that it most surely is. And certainly that's even more well known now that some Star Wars personalities like Mark Hamill, who continues to work with Disney, continues to also spew venomosity. That's not a word, but you know what is? The absurdity of Disney's situation. We'll tell you what's going on with Disney politically and how it can be saved. Ladies and gentlemen, you are back in the place that is explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve, and doing so with the sort of glee that drives the mainstream drive-bys mad. We're so happy to have you here, even if they are quite sad. Folks, consider click the like button, and let's dive straight into the content today as we discuss the political insanity in which Disney has, well, put itself straight into the sand and said, we will never move from here. Let's bring on the panel and bring some clarity to it all right now. I'm thinking that at this point, Disney has been fully exposed as totally political by the Gina Carano lawsuit, but then also beyond that. So we have watched as Disney has sort of remained silent on the Rachel Zegler situation. Disney has alleged repeatedly now that they get to make decisions based on their political viewpoints and what is best for the political ideologies of the company going forward. We've also seen that the probable future CEO of Disney, Dana Walden, is besties with Kamala Harris. And so what I was wondering is, what do you do if you're Disney now to try to pull back away from being outright
pro?
What does Disney do as a political entity now that the market knows it?
Yeah, I think they just have to basically put out a movie. We saw it with Inside Out too, as long as they don't oversaturate it, because there was some stuff in there that, people could find a little bit questionable, but you basically do that. You basically put out a movie I think Moana 2 is going to be a really great indicator to see, because is Inside Out 2 kind of like a fluke? Because Moana 2 looked pretty good. I mean, for that rush job, Canada, I would say, Chato, they moved that studios to Canada and you guys tore it up, because that preview looked great.
In record time.
In record time. And I'm like, man, the Canadians have got it going on. They're beating this. I think anybody in Buena Vista would be like, you guys should be shaking in your boots, because the Canadians are going to bring the poutine.
We're the new Koreans.
You're the new Koreans.
So
and
Paul,
you got just as many Koreans.
Paul, if you're Disney, are you trying to settle with Gina Carano to get this completely out of the court?
Yeah, I would do that. And the bottom line is, when you've got a media company, you might think you are more than the shows that you create, but that's not true. You live and die by the product you push out. When I was at the CBC, there was just so many external things that we were worrying about in terms of trying to stem the loss of audience. And I just kept saying, make shows people want to see. That's it. Like, no one cares about those extra little brand elements. You make shows people want, you will recover your brand. Look what happened to NBC when Tartikoff took over. NBC.
How quickly can it happen, Paul?
It can happen in a year if you have one not hit, but a solid showing after another. Within 1 year, you will recover a lot.
Do you think that could happen for Star Wars, despite how politically entrenched it's been?
You know what? Based on my experience in the network realm, yes, it can happen.
I tend to agree
anything.
With you. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think people are gracious, and people want to be entertained.
Yeah.
They want to come home and have a good time. If you do that, they can put away a lot of the stuff they've seen. And by the way, I'll give an example of that. So Inside Out 2, for example, not a great movie. It's fine. I think we gave it a 7 out of 10. It's fine. It's the highest grossing animated film of all time now. Why?
Wow.
Well, because Disney had put out Lightyear and Strange World and all this stuff that people didn't want to see. They didn't want to explain things to their kids. And you might have thought, well, people are done with Disney. And a large segment of our audience is. But the general populace, if you give them something that's not divisive,
that's correct.
they need something to show their kids.
Mhm.
That's how simple the consumer mechanism is.
And that's why the formula is very simple. And that is ABC was at one point so far back behind CBS and NBC that when Bob Hope was doing his USO tours in Vietnam, one of his jokes was, if you want to end the Vietnam War, put it on ABC.
There you go.
I am not kidding you. That was one of his jokes, because my mom and I religiously watched the USO shows that Bob Hope put on with the June Taylor dancers and all that stuff. So and you can recover in a year by having just stuff that people want to see. Sure, there's going to be some show me, prove it to me, but the public is, you give them stuff that they want, they're happy to consume it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Paul, let's take that one step further then. So Disney wants to do that. Let's assume, although that might be generous to them. One of the things they need to do is they need to get the Gina Carano lawsuit off of them and get it out of the press and get it out of the public. So if they're going to mediation, which is forced mediation from the judge, and they are, what can Disney give to a woman who is funded by the world's richest man? Outside of money, what is it? What does Disney have in their quiver that they can play to try to keep this from going to trial, which would expose them as political and which would keep them in a negative light with the public and prevent them from going, here's a good show. Watch this, and we're going to shut up. How do they get this to go silent?
Well, they're not. Are you contemplating giving Gina a show?
I would if I was Disney. If I was Disney, I would
could
totally
offer
give
that.
her-
I think that would be crazy for them, because I don't
give
think
her a show. Yeah, give her a show and put her in the new Mondo movie. Done.
Well, part of the problem is she's actually not a very good actress. So there's a danger there in that her role in Mando was absolutely right in her wheelhouse. Beefy chick that could take down men, and you'd believe it.
I think that's on its own merit. That's a plenty good enough show, maybe.
Yeah, I'd go, Beefy.
I mean, if Queen Latifah can carry The Equalizer on CBS,
yes. Oh my God.
That's my only comment there.
and but then it's true. Then they have to shoot it like a TV show, because a TV show doesn't care about bad acting. It's about bringing friends into your living room. It's a very different. And it's one of the reasons why Murphy Brown worked, even though what's her name was a terrible actress, because TV is like every Christmas your Uncle Waldo puts the lampshade on his head. He thinks it's hilarious. And that's who you're bringing into your room. You're bringing family into your room when you're watching TV, which Disney doesn't get, or has stopped getting. Like when they were doing all those wonderful kids shows, they were wonderful to bring them in. You were happy when your daughter was watching them, right? Those were her friends. Those were my daughter's friends. And so, yeah, Gina Carano would actually be a perfect TV actress, to tell you the truth. Yes, you're right.
And we love Gina, and Gina seems to be a lovely and wonderful person.
A really sweet person, but I'm concerned about acting as well.
Well, you're talking about in a titular role, right?
Yeah. So no, I think she would be cool, but I would put her on the ABC network. I'd stop putting shit onto Disney Plus and just.
It's all that goes there, Paul. It's all that goes there. It is the streaming Louvre when it comes to platforms.
Is that their basically the motto? So basically what they're doing is they are rehashing all this excrement, and then what they're going to do is they're going to use that fertilizer to grow a better network. Is that what they're doing? That's the
most optimistic way of spinning that I have ever heard, Fletch.
Well, ironically, what was it? ABC just recently put. It wasn't the Acolyte. It was She-Hulk. What was it that?
The She-Hulk. They did She-Hulk on there.
Yeah, and if they had done that properly, that would have been the perfect show for the network. They just no one knows. They don't know what they're doing down there.
But why? Why?
Because they fell in love with the recurring revenue, crack cocaine. They're going, oh my God, we're going to get a monthly fee and bring billions of dollars in every month. The problem was there's only a few, the audience is finite. That's the problem. There's no growth in the audience. It's done.
Now, Paul, would you think that if they could turn this into, like, remember when they used to have the Disney movie of the week or something, and have that on television? Yeah. How about doing that? Would that kind of like turn things around a little bit? Like, give it a little bit of excitement, have maybe some stars come in and do some on TV and show the play.
My thought, and I've mentioned this on other shows, is that Hollywood needs to resurrect I'm going to turn myself on here. So Hollywood needs to resurrect. They have to resurrect the network system, because the network system was important for not just the shows that you saw, but all the pilots that you didn't see, because they would commission 100 scripts, shoot 20 pilots, put 4 of them on, and keep 2. And what kept Hollywood working was not the stuff you saw, but was all the stuff you didn't see. That has gone. This is what has been eviscerated, and which is why Hollywood is in such trouble. To survive, they need to resurrect the network system of pilot making, putting the best on. And if I was the head of ABC or NBC or CBS, I would actually start trying to commission shows like, not duplicates of, A-Team, Baywatch, Knight Rider, Falcon Crest.
I'm also going to push back on something you said a little bit earlier here, but also kind of agree with you. But I think if they announced any of those kinds of shows with Gina Carano in them right now, they would be cashing in on a lot of fan goodwill.
I completely agree. Yeah, you do a kung fu version with Gina Carano.
Right, because again, going back to what Marvel did with the MCU, it wasn't necessarily the plot of the particular movie. You were inviting this team or this person or this character, I should say. You wanted to show up and find out what was RDJ going to do? What was Iron Man going to do in this scenario? What is Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, going to do in this scenario? You were trying to put them in an environment where they want to know what this character, they're attached to the character, not the subject. The same thing we try to do with these YouTube videos. I'm going to be very frank. There's a lot of channels that you don't necessarily care what the subject is. You care what the person is going to say about the subject. With a show like the A-Team, the plot of the episode matters much less than the interactions of the characters in that circumstance.
Absolutely.
Right.
But I would be overjoyed if we can get Gina and Mr. T together for a new A-Team. Let's do it. It'll be the greatest gift Shadow's ever given to the world.
You know what?
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's the kind of thing that I would probably contemplate. But the networks have to bring up the joy of tuning in every September to the wide variety of Aaron Spelling products. And, we make fun of them now, Love Boat, stuff like that. But it's exactly the kind of shows I think people want, because quite frankly, those are the shows that are most popular on streaming.
Right, on Tubi and all that stuff. Those shows are the ones that are picking up. But why can't Disney just go and look at that and say, hey, wait a minute, let's just do Burn Notice with Mandalorian.
Well,
how hard is that, son?
We're too busy politicizing and propagandizing all of the content we can. Folks, we must say goodbye. How sad it is, but we cannot wait to see you again. We hope you enjoyed your journey here with us as we tried our best to keep you ahead of that culture curve. If we did so, we hope we have earned you clicking perhaps that like button. Also, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. By the way, did you know that we are creating original content on Vacation Radio, the YouTube channel that puts out original music all the time, and eventually we are planning to release animated shorts in the future as we get into content creation. So we're not just critical, but we're also a generation of brand new fantastic stuff. Go on over to Vacation Radio and support it. We just released brand new spooky Halloween music that you can use at your parties or wherever your monstrous needs might arise. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.